Holy cow! Welcome to Donnie's Hangout Adventures. The other night, what? Just a cow? Yeah, this one's for YouTube, but this one's pretty safe. The other night, me and my wife, we watched the original Back to the Future, and it is sad what's happened to Michael J. Fox, but that's pretty much what life. It's pretty much life, but it is sad. But you watch how great of an actor Michael J. Fox was, and it sort of makes you cry at times. It really does what's become of Michael J. Fox. But in all that, he's very. It's a very he looks at life like you wouldn't believe it that he has such an uplifting attitude, even though being diagnosed, even though he's had Parkinson's for years. He was diagnosed with Parkinson's. And I have it wrote down, or I did. Okay, 1991. He was diagnosed with Parkinson's. He didn't go, and he was only 29 when he had Parkinson's, when he's diagnosed with it. That's an incredibly young age. You usually don't hear of Parkinson's that young. You usually don't hear it until later in life, like when you're in your 40s or your 50s. Or in a case like Muhammad Ali, he didn't get Parkinson's after he had quit boxing. And Parkinson's had nothing to do with boxing. Nothing to do with boxing at all. People tried to make that assumption that Muhammad Ali got Parkinson's because of boxing. No connection. So Muhammad Ali didn't get Parkinson's until after he quit boxing. And so he actually lived a relatively long life, even having Parkinson's. Muhammad Ali was 74 when he died. And it was sad to see Ali later in life when you would see him on TV. One of the greatest talkers in boxing couldn't even talk. Yeah, that was pretty sad. And Fox is probably headed that way, more than likely, because he's having a hard time talking at this point, which is incredibly sad. Yes, it's incredibly sad. Michael J. Fox is 61. How much time does he have left? Nobody really knows, especially with Parkinson's. Now, he created his own foundation years ago to find a cure. Unfortunately, there probably will never be a cure. If there is a cure, it won't be in Michael J. Fox's lifetime. And he has his own foundation that he's created many years ago to try to find a cure for Parkinson's. Now, there's a documentary that's coming out. I think it's coming out, or it's going to come out. Michael J. Fox wanted to do a documentary, but he didn't want to do it on a documentary about Parkinson's. It's more about his personal and professional triumphs. It's a movie, actually, as Michael J. Fox would say, it's a movie about life. This is a documentary. I'm not big on documentaries, but every so often I like to watch documentaries. This would be one documentary I would actually be interested in watching. I think it would be really good. I'm going to try to make a point of that to find out where this documentary is going to be playing at, on what, streaming device, and hopefully I can watch it. I would like to watch it. Michael J. Fox, he talked a little bit here. I'm going to discuss this. He goes, I can feel sorry for myself, but I don't have time for that. You know what? I can sort of relate to this. Not on the Parkinson's level, because I don't have Parkinson's. But I can relate to him saying, I can feel sorry for myself, but I don't have time for that. Because I remember when I first got diagnosed with epilepsy seizures when I was in high school. I did feel sorry for myself for a while, probably a couple years. But then I realized life's too short. Life's too short to be going around feel sorry for myself. And I bet some point in time when Fox had Parkinson's, which he still has it, but I'm sure in the beginning stages of it, I'm sure that he felt sorry for himself. But I'm sure he just like eventually was like, you know what? I don't got time for it anymore to feel sorry for myself. It's just time to move forward. And he goes, there is stuff to be learned from this, so let's do that and move on. He has such a positive attitude. It's rather amazing his attitude on having Parkinson's. And it's rather remarkable. Not everybody's going to be this way. There's a lot of people that's going to feel sorry for themselves, no matter what they have wrong with them. That's part of human nature, feeling sorry for yourself. He says you have to figure out a way to get out of that funk and just sort of make a positive of it. Okay, so he goes on to say, my fans have basically given me my life. I wanted to give these people who have done so much for me. And I like what he says because it's absolutely true. He goes, Parkinson's sucks. Yeah, it's affected millions and millions of people, and it does suck. But it's a great life. I like what he said. He's lived a great life. Maybe not the way that he wanted to, but he's lived a great life in and of it as it is. And he thanked his fans because a lot of the Back to the Future, Family Tie fans, they have followed his career and they have stayed loyal to Fox throughout his entire life, through his entire career even, and they keep up to date with Fox. And that's actually pretty cool that, that they actually do that. And he said, Fox also said he has no regrets. I like that. I really like that he said that he has no regrets. There's, that's the thing with people. As they get older in life, they start having regrets. I think we all have some form of regret or something. I try not to have any regrets because, hey, it's just life. It's just life. You have to move on. You have to move forward and just make the best of a bad situation. As I have said for years, you try to deal with the cards that you're dealt with. You just try to deal with the cards that you were dealt with in life because everybody's got something wrong with them, including in the case of Michael J. Fox. And Lord knows how much time he has left. I think that's the reason he wanted to do this documentary. And, it is sad. Don't get me wrong. It was sad watching the final years of Ali when you knew that this guy was one of the best talkers in boxing. And then in his last few years, he couldn't utter a single sentence. Now that was sad in and of itself. The same thing is starting to happen to Fox, especially if you watch some of his interviews. It's not his fault, it's Parkinson's. And that is sad when that happens, and it's probably going to happen to Fox eventually. Because people with Parkinson's, especially when you've had it as long as Fox has had it, since 1991, you can live a long life with it. Not a long life, because the average age for this is in your 60s. And Fox, unfortunately, he's pretty much exceeded that because he's 61. And hopefully someday, I doubt it, but hopefully someday there is a cure for Parkinson's, but I seriously doubt it. But you know what? Michael J. Fox is such a great uplifting story with something very horrendous. Take that as you may. And, just like me I can sort of relate to Fox not having any regrets, and he's lived a great life. I can sort of relate to that. A lot of people can relate to that. I don't have the same thing that Fox has, Parkinson's. I do have epilepsy. I just try to live the life best as I can with no regrets. What I've always done. That's what I've always done. And, you know, there was the adjustment period. And, you know, I'm sure the same thing happened with Fox. You know what? I don't got anything else I really wanted to add. But just a cow. Anything you want to add? No? Well, that's all, folks.